This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so we were working on the bank account creation yesterday. So let us go and check the bank account setup first. Setup and maintenance. So maybe you can go to your implementation project, or you can also check from here. Go to the cash management and banking offering. Click on manage bank accounts. So it will give you a search panel to search the existing banks, right? We had created one bank yesterday. So let's search for that. And this is the bank account which we created yesterday, right? So uh, this is the area where we actually got stuck yesterday. So when we try to add business unit, due to some issues we were not able to do that, but it is simple. I mean, it is only one step. Just select the business unit from this list of values. Okay, so what I did is I had selected our business unit. Okay, this you just need to select, click on OK, and then you would need to click on OK, so that you will get exit from this bank. Okay, but if you see there are default accounts, right? So let me open this one. Let's get it open. So these are the bank accounts, cash and cash clearing account we haven't given here, right? So from where these accounts are getting defaulted. So if you remember, before coming into this page, in the tab called general, we had given the cash and cash clearing account, right? So whatever the accounts you give here will be defaulted when you are adding a business unit. Okay, but you can override, you can visible that as well. So once you click on this one, these two accounts are automatically getting defaulted, right? Still you can go and override, or still you can go and modify these accounts. Okay, let us modify these accounts once. Why this happens? Because the at each business unit level, you may override these values. Okay, you may have a different code combination, different cash account, cash clearing account for each of the bank. Let us say this bank, for the MIT INR bank, for cash and cash clearing account, what I have given, 1201 is my cash account, 1202 is my cash clearing account, right? But for a different business unit for the same bank, you can even define a different account, right? So when you make the payments against that business unit, these accounts will get default. Okay, that is an option that Oracle gives you. Okay, and there are certain options where while you are creating a bank, if you remember, there are certain options. One of the option, this currency, we have discussed this one, right? So which means that by using this bank, you would be able to make the payments in INR currency. Okay, primarily it is used for making payments in INR currency. What if I have to make payments in any currency? So let us say I want to pay an invoice which is entered in USD. Can I go and pay with this by using this bank, since this bank is defined with INR currency? Yes, you can do that, but for that you need to do some changes on your bank account. Okay, this is the option, multi-currency account, that you need to enable. We will enable this while we are making the payment for an multi-currency, which is non-functional currency invoice. While we are making the payment, we will see come back to this bank account, we will enable and we'll see that. Okay, so that's it. I mean, there are hardly 4 to 5 elements that you need to see, and again we will come back onto this bank account form to create the payment document. We'll discuss about that. Okay, so to make the payment, what we discussed, so we should have bank, right? We should have bank, we should have a payment method as well as payment process profile. Why those are required? So let us go and see. Let us go and see what are the mandatory, I mean, what are the fields that Oracle asks you to provide while you are making a payment. Okay, go to the payments module, payments work area. Okay, task panel, create payment. So we are in the form where we are in the form where we are going to make a payment, right? So what it is asking, it is asking you to provide the by default the business unit is automatically got populated, because for this business unit we have this user has only one BU access, and that is the that this business unit is enabled with the payment activity, right? So against to which supplier you want to pay, we have that data as well. Let us go and see what it asks. The record discount service does not exist. Recommended discount, okay, no problem. So the payment date already got defaulted, and there are different payment types, we will discuss that. But if you see, there is an account, there is a field called disbursement bank account. Okay, we have configured the bank account, right? Let us see what is the bank account we have configured. Okay, and immediately it is asking you for the payment method as well as the payment process profile. Okay, what is this payment method and what is this payment process profile, that we will discuss, and we'll come back to this form to make the payment. Okay, so to be able to make the payment, to be able to generate the payment to any of the your supplier or an employee or a customer, you should have defined your bank account, your payment method, and your payment process profile. So what it talks, so we are done with the bank account, and next topic is the payment document. The payment document are payment method, right? So what is this payment method is the payment method, what it is, it is a disbursement payment method. Generally, when we say disbursement payment method, it is your company is going to disburse the funds to the eligible suppliers, or maybe customers, or maybe even your employees, right? So what is this payment method? So how do you make a pay? So in general, how do you make payment to any person or entity, right? So it can be an you may give a check to the customer, or you may give an you may transfer electronic funds, right? All these we call as payment methods. what method, in which way you are going to make the payment, right? So as I said, payment method that is used by your company to make payments or to disburse the funds to your suppliers, employees, as well as customers. Okay, and this payment method can be an electronic payment method, and it can be a check, or it can be a wire payment method, right? So what is this electronic payment method? Electronic payment method, we are aware of this one, right? This is an electronic payment, EFT, electronic fund transfer. And the check payment method, where you give a physical check, so which you print out of your Oracle system, or you may use the existing check that your banker gives, right? So that is the check method we call. And the wire payment method is, it is a transaction between your banks. Okay, this wire payment method will be used in Oracle when the transaction and when the fund disbursements happens between the banks. Between the banks means your bank as well as the supplier bank. To record such transaction, will be using the wire payment. Okay, so in short, what we are doing, so we will be using these payment methods, and this payment method will be backup will be represented in a document, right? So for example, if you are going to make a payment in check method, right? So check method, you are going to give a check to your supplier, and that check, how you are going to generate, right? Maybe your banker will give a predefined, pre-numbered and pre-printed check, where you actually sign that check and give to the supplier, right? The checkbook that we get, right? We will get the check which is a pre-printed, pre-numbered check that we get, and simply we use that check for the disburse the funds to the suppliers, right? Even there is an option in Oracle, the bankers also gives the feasibility to print the checks on their own, right? So when you get a checkbook, the similar kind of check even can be printed in Oracle, printed out of Oracle. So for that, generally what happens, the bankers will charge to the customers. Okay, even that check also, even that check format also has to be in a predefined agreement, predefined agreed format with the bank. Okay, for that what we do is, we will what Oracle will do is, Oracle has n number of formats. We call this, we call this check or electronic, whatever the check or electronic, these are called as payment methods, right? Each of this payment method, see, the output of these payment methods should be a document. There should be some output should be there, right? How, unless without that, how a banker makes the payment? In case of checks, what you do, you give a check to the supplier. That check may be an issued by the bank, or you are going to print inside in-house in your application. That is one thing. And for electronic, you would be giving the data in electronic format, which means in a file you will be giving the data in a file, saying that the amount has to be transferred to the various suppliers to their respective bank accounts with the specified amount, and the entire detail, whatever the terms I had mentioned, right? So what we, in electronic payment method, you will be giving a file to the banker. Okay, so what does that file contains? This file should contain who is the supplier, okay, who is the supplier, and what is his bank account number, what is the supplier bank account number and what amount you are giving a direction to your bank to credit to your supplier bank account, right? So even in the file also, you would also specify against to, in some cases it is not the point number 4 whatever I am writing, it is depends upon your how you configure your system. Okay, maybe the what amount for which invoice. Invoice or invoices. Okay, this entire information is going to be generated in a file, and that file will be sent to the bank. Okay, so this is called the payment document. This is called the payment document, is based out of your payment method, right? Maybe an electronic or check. So for that we need to create a payment document by using the payment method. Okay, let us go and define a payment method now. Any question on that topic?
Okay.
Okay, cool. So what I said, for the payment document, it is a predefined format. That's what I said, right? Go to the manage formats. Okay, here there are a number of formats. Select what type of you are going to create a format. So what does this format will do is it generates an output in a predefined format, right? The formats are various formats that we will be working in Oracle. Okay, one of them is the bank statement format. This bank statement format is used for your bank reconciliation, right? Even the whatever the bank statement you get out of Oracle, I mean you get out of your bank account, that needs to be imported into Oracle. So it has to be in, even that also to be in predefined agreement, predefined structure. So those structures will be described in this bank statement formats. So right now we are working on the disbursement payment file format, right? So disbursement means the funds are going to be disbursed to the suppliers. So select the disbursement payment file format and click on create. If you click on view available format types, it shows you the what are the format types available. So these are the format types available. Okay, but our objective is to create a format, right? Okay, let us go and see what it asks. Okay, so it is asking you to provide the name means the format and code. The type is disbursement payment file format, right? This is what we selected, right? So disbursement payment file format means this file format is going to be used to disburse the funds. Okay, message direction is outbound because it is an outbound, I mean it is data is going out of Oracle, right? So there is a there is a field called template. This is what actually drives the template, or this is what actually drives the document what you are going to use. Okay, so we'll see what are the values. First let us give the name first. MIT, it should not be MIT. Okay, our bank name we named as MIT, right? MIT check format. Okay. And here you would see multiple number of formats. See, these are all templates. I said, right? EFT, check, everything. So if you go and check here, there are n number of templates are already given by Oracle, so that this can be, you can use for your payment document generation. Okay. So this is a kind of the basic format template will be given by Oracle, and you can go and customize according to your client requirement. Okay, the customization, the whatever, let us say if we are going to work on check payment, and the template which we are going to use is standard check. Okay, select this template, standard check. Okay, standard check, and give the any backward date, because it starts the payment start consider for this start date. Okay, just save and close. If you scroll down, there are validations. So there is, these are advanced features kind of validation, where you can define for your the payment document, but these are not required. Just you need to select the existing seeded template, which we are right now, we are working on the check payment method, where we have taken the existing seeded Oracle given seeded standard check we have taken. Okay, just select the template, save and close. Okay, so what we did, we had created a bank account, and we even created a payment, or we even created a payment method, right? The check, we are going to make a payment, we are going to make the payments by using check method. But so we have created a payment format which is in tied with the standard check, the standard check template. But this payment method is linked to our bank account so far? No, right? These are independent so far. Bank account is not linked with your payment method. So you should specify to your system. So by using this bank account, by using this MIT bank account, what kind of payments I can make, right? That is what you need to specify. Assume even one bank account can be used for multiple payment types as well, right? I can use my bank account for checks and electronic payments as well. That is what we do, right? Even in our individual bank accounts also, that is what we do, right? So let us go to the bank account for. Okay, so what we are going to do there, so we are going to create a bank account document where we will specify the payment method and format to be used. Query our bank account. Okay, and go to the edit mode. Okay, where do I create my bank account? My bank account is already open now. Okay, so the account form is in edit mode. Okay, so now go to the bottom of the form. Here you would see payment document. Okay, so here you can define the payment document. What does the payment document will do? It is, see what we are doing, we are linking the payment method, payment format to the bank account, right? So whenever you are going into your payments module, whenever you select this bank account, whatever the documents, payment documents that you are going to define here will be shown in the list of values. Maybe it is a check payment format, or maybe it is your electronic payment format, EFT. Okay, so for check format, what we did for MIT format, we had assigned the template called standard check. Assume that you are working on electronic payment format, so MIT electronic EFT method, and the template should be your electronic payment method, which should be there would be a predefined electronic payment format as well that you need to select. We'll see that as well. First, let us proceed with the check payment. Okay, payment document MIT check document. Okay, what is the paper stock, blank stock or numbered stock? So these are different, right? The blank stock or numbered stock means whether blank stock, the numbers, check numbers are going to be generated out of Oracle, and where your pre-numbered stock, you will banker will give you the pre-numbered stock on top of which you will print. Okay, so let us take it as blank stock. And if you see here the format, right now whatever we created in the previous step, right, that we are going to assign here. Do you see how we are linking the linking in the application set up one by one? So initially what we did, we created a payment format. This payment format is already associated with a template which is called standard check. The standard check is the will be the layout of your check. So whatever the check leaf you get, right, the similar kind of check leaf output will be generated by using this format. Okay, so but generally this is an whatever we have taken, the Oracle standard one is the skeleton kind of format. But generally every company, wherever you use the wherever which clients uses the Oracle, checks are going to be printed out of Oracle, then this will be customized according to the customer requirement. Okay, so give the first number. First number means the check number. What should be your check first number? Okay, just click on OK. Right, so what we did is we had created a bank account, we even created a payment method which is payment method is check. For the payment method check, we had created a format, and that format we had assigned to the bank in the form of payment document, right? For the payment document, the created custom format, check format is being assigned, right? So the next step is to
Tirupati, sorry, will it show any sample of the check that we created?
So we will that I will show once we make the payment, right?
Okay.
Okay, so the next topic what we listed here, what we listed is the payment process profile, right? This payment process profile is also one of the mandatory configuration to be punched in while you are making the payment, right? These are the three values which the application was asking you to provide while we are making the payment, right? So what is this payment process profile? Payment process profile, basically it is processing steps, okay, for your payment file generation, right? So this is basically, it is to group the payment, I mean select the payment document or payment your disbursement bank account or your disbursement document into one place. It is a kind of setup where you are going to give directions to the system saying that which is the bank account, what is the format that I'm going to pay out of using this payment process profile, what is the format, and if we are going to send the file, electronic files to the bank, to where the file has to be generated, file has to be sent. Those are the major configurations tasks that we will be grouped inside your payment process profile. So in short, payment process profile, it controls your payment processing. Okay, what does it contains? It contains the format which you are going to use for your payment, and the transmission configurations. Why does the transmission configuration comes into picture? Because if you are going to use electronic payments and the file, once the file is generated, how do you pass this information? Assume that this file, this electronic file, for the whatever the bullet points we have listed, the file got generated for 100 suppliers, for whom the 100 payments has to be made by your bank. So how does this information will send to your bank? How does this information will be generated in a file, right? That is what also drives in your payment process profile. In generally, what happens for your file, the entire information will be generated in one file, and that file will be placed in one location. From there, the banker will pick the file and process the payments. That is we call as SFTP. Okay, Secured File Transfer Protocol, SFTP. Okay, so once the file is generated, so for example, if it is a check method, what do you do? Once the payment is generated, you would be printing your check and you will be handing over it to your banker, right? Your supplier, right? So maybe you'll be handing over to the supplier, or you'll be send that check to the supplier. But in case of electronic payments, you will not, this information, the direction has to go to the bank, right, instead of supplier, right? So when your bank account is credited with salary on your first of every month, do you get the information? Do you get the direction from your company? No, right? Your company gives information to your bank saying that this employee has to be credited by this much amount as a salary, right? So likewise, for each of the employee, in the file there will be one record saying that this is the employee name and this is his bank account, with the bank account, bank name and branch details, and this is the amount has to be credited this supplier, right? That information will be sent in a file and that will be sent to the bank. This is a file, this is called file transfer protocol. So how you send that information to the bank is over an SFTP location, where you place the file and the banker will pick the file from the SFTP location. This is an automated process where the user doesn't have any user interference. Okay, so once you make the payment file will be generated automatically, and that will be transferred to this SFTP location, secured location. From the secured location, the banker will pull the file and they will process the payments. Okay, it is an automated process. You don't need to interfere any stages of this process, but as a consultant, we should automate that process. Okay, let us go and see how do you set up a payment process profile. Okay, you can do it from here, from the payments, or else you can go into your implementation project as well. Manage payment process profile. Manage payment process profiles is the task type. Okay, just click on go to task. Okay, here this is the search area where you can query for your existing payment formats. Okay, so you can click search, so it will give you the existing payment process profiles that exist in the system. So you should see number of payment process profiles, right? So you can see the processing type as well, right? The electronic, printed. These are, once you create a payment process profile, that will be shown in this list of values as well. Okay, let us create a payment process profile. Okay, so give the, what is the payment process profile? MIT check payment process profile, 3 piece. Same thing you can give any date, you can give backward date. Okay, so right now what is the system is asking? Payment file format, right? This is we created, when did we created this one? So this payment file format is, we had created as a first step, right, in our today's session. MIT check format. And what is the processing type? Processing type means whether this is an electronic payment or a check payment, right? Electronic payment file, electronic payment, file will be generated and the file will be transferred. And for check is the printed, right? You are going to print the checks, right? Default payment document, it doesn't require. And the payment file, send to file or send to printer. Send to file means the payment, see, let us say you have generated multiple payments, so you want to send that multiple files into a file and you will print the later, or send to printer directly once you create the payment. These are the two options. Let us continue with the send to printer. And default printer, there is a concept called default printer. This is, let us while you are making a check payment, so the check has to be printed, right? So which is the printer you want to use? Default printer. You can use, while printing, you can use any of your printers for this user has access to. Okay, but you have an option like which is the default printer, you can select. This is not required. Okay, just if you select this default printer, whenever you make payments against by using this payment process profile, the value of this printer will get default. That's it, nothing else. Okay, so now there are few other tabs which are linked, which are part of your payment process profile. What are those? Usage rules. So when we say usage rules, so there are various values: payment methods, disbursement bank accounts, business units, and currencies. Okay, you need to, it is asking, system has given you an option how you want to use this payment process profile. By using this payment process profile, can I make payments of what payment method I can use? If you select all, by default this payment method can be used for all payment methods. Okay, if you specify any, if you click on specify, you need to specify which payment method you are going to use. Let us say I have defined this payment method, MIT check payment method, payment type as check. Assume that in that case, this payment, whenever you make the payments, the invoices which are having the payment method check will only be able to select and make the payment. Okay, any other payment process will not be, payment process invoices will not be selected by using for making payment by using this payment process profile. Okay, so in short, there are options. Payment method, whether you want to use this payment process profile, all are, if any specific, then you need to specify. Similarly, bank account as well. So this payment process profile can be used only for this specific bank account or any of the bank accounts which exist for the company, right? So depends, it depends upon your approach, how you want to define. Generally what happens in my experience, I had used the both options. So for each specific bank account, we had defined an dedicated payment process profile, and also we had used one process for multiple bank accounts. It depends upon how you configure your system. Okay, similarly for business unit also, which business unit, whether this should be applicable for all business units or any specific business unit. Currencies, all currencies or any specific currency, that is how you should select your the options on your application. So we will proceed with the option called all for currencies, business units, bank accounts, as well as payment methods, right? What we are specifying is this payment process profile can be used for all business units, all bank accounts, all currencies, wherever it fits. That's it. Okay, go to the payment system. Payment system is your the payment file transmission piece it talks about. Okay, so we are not going to use any payment system for check. It doesn't require for check. Okay, but this maybe this required to be configured when you are using the positive pay file. I will explain that once we reach to that point. Okay, there are certain options for in the payment tab, how the document grouping rules. I mean, once the payment is generated, how it has to be grouped. There are different options that you can select. So don't select anything. Payment file also should have some values. So this is, if you see the term payment file, which means the file which is generated out of this by using this payment process profile, what there are certain options for that payment process file. So what should be the format payment file of payment file accompanying letter format, this you can use. And outbound payment file extension. File extension means what is that? So text file or Excel, that is what you use, right? So extension and file prefix. While you are generating a file, the file should be named, right? What should be the name of your file? That is where it talks about. Grouping is to group your transactions to generate the payment. Okay, don't select anything. By default it generates a check for each supplier. Okay, payment file register and positive pay file. Positive pay file, this is another format we will discuss once we reach to the positive pay file discussion. Okay, additional information is kind of DFFs. Okay, so that's it. What we did is in payment process profile is we had just added the payment document, payment file format, right, which is the check format, and specified that this is the type is as printed. So just see what happens when you select electronic. Okay, payment confirmation point, it is asking, and when you want to complete the payment file, this we use for batch payments. we'll see that while we are processing the batches. And allow manual setting for payment confirmation. This is whether it should be manual or automatic. That is what is the options. Okay, go with the printed, save and close. Right, now we are done with the required setup for making a payment. Okay, now we need to generate a payment. We need to make the payment to the supplier. Okay, so to do that, payables, payments work area. So there's, once you landed here, there are certain options. So payment process request, this we call as PPR. PPR is for batch payments. We will that is our next topic. And payment file require attention is when you are running the payment process profiles, PPRs. So it will go into the certain stages with different stages where this payment PPR stands in, so that if any of the user manual intervention requires, it pops up there. You can see here one of the payment batch which is run for the different user. You can see the status there, right? Stop payment request is another topic. So once you make the payment, maybe you would go for a stop payment in case of where you have issued a check and you want to give a direction to your banker saying that the payment has to be stopped. So how you do that? That is where the request will display here. Okay, go to the task panel. What are the options available in payments? Let us see, and we'll generate a payment. Okay, submit payment process request. This is for batch payments. Manage payment process request is to query back your payments. Manage payment process request template. This is one of your template for batch payments. It is a kind of data entry kind of template where you predefined template will be defined in the system and that template will be used. We will see that. So there is a task called create payment. This is where we are going to work now. It is going to generate a payment. Manage payment is to query your payment documents. Whatever the payments you have generated, you can query back in the application. And there are other options as well. Create electronic payments, create printed payments, manage payment files. So send remittance, create positive pay file. There are different tasks that we will see when we are working on this task. Okay, majority of these are automatically triggered, depends upon your payment process profile. Okay, now we are going to generate a payment. So there are payment details, advanced options, and additional options. So advanced tab holds the data of your conversion rates where you make the payments in non-functional currency, and the additional information, obviously it is to store your additional data where we enable the DFFs. Okay, go to the payment details and give your supplier to whom you want to make payment. Okay, and there are three types of payment types: manual, quick, and refund. Okay, manual, quick, and refund. So quick is used for one-time payments. Okay, one-time payments to the supplier. So this will be generated in payment document, whereas manual payment is used for just for recording your invoices for which the payment has already been done outside of your Oracle. Okay, and the refund is used for to refund to the your suppliers or customer, right? When do you refund? When do you refund? So when your customer paid an excess amount and that you need to refund, in that case you would see the type called payment type called refund. Okay, let us select the proceed with the default quick as the method and select our bank account. Okay, do you see the other banks in the search panel? Let us go and see. You should not see any banks here. Okay, why? Because the bank account access we have given for this business unit, we have given access to only one bank, right? That is why you are able to see only one bank account in the list of values. Okay, the payment method, what is the method you want to use? It is check payment we are going to use, right? Payment process profile just we created, right? So what is the payment process profile talks about? It is the processing steps for your payments, like which bank account, for which business unit, for which bank account, and what payment format, and where this file has to be sent, kind of information that we provided here, right? So once you select the payment process profile, it is even asking you to select the bank payment document. Where did we create this payment document? While on the bank account form, right? On the bank account, if you remember, we had created a payment document. Assume that if this bank account can be used for multiple payment documents, maybe one document is check, maybe one document is electronic, right? So in that case, application asks you, by using this bank account, which payment document is it going to be an electronic or it is going to be a check? So the electronic or check is inside this document, right? That is where you have assigned your template, right? The template drives, right? Once you select the payment document, the document number automatically defaulted, right? The payment document is this, since we are going to generating the first payment, that is why you see the number as 1. Okay, if any of the attachments you would like to add for this payment in your Oracle applications, you can still go and do that. Okay, so now we have selected the data so far. Who is the supplier? Okay, from which bank account, which payment type, either check or electronic. This is the data we have so far given to the in the application. But for this supplier, against to which all invoices we are going to make payment, so that you need to specify, right? Otherwise, how system knows you are going to make a payment again for which invoice, right? Without any invoice, you cannot make payment. Thumb rule in Oracle is without invoice you cannot make payment. If you are going to make a payment in Oracle, you should have an invoice. Otherwise, you can never able to generate a payment. So click here. There are multiple options. This is an Excel. Excel is to export the data, and there is a book with plus symbol is to select the invoices. Okay, you can select for any of the invoice numbers if you know, right? So once you click on this one, application already defaulted with the invoices of this supplier, right? Because we have already selected the supplier at the payment header details itself. Okay, so give any partial invoice number if you wish to search. Okay, so select any of the invoice from this list. Okay, so I'm selecting the invoice number 6, or else I can even select one invoice. I can select, or else I can select multiple invoices as well. See, I had selected one invoice. Just go to the select and add symbol, and you can even select multiple invoices as well. Okay, how do you do that? Just shift and down arrow, or else you can select by using your mouse and control, mouse as well as your control button. Okay, this is how you select your invoices to make the payment. Okay, so I have selected the invoices, and immediately what happened, application has brought the data of the invoices, right? So if you see here, there is an unpaid invoice amount on this invoice. So right, like if you go and check on this invoice, this is the invoice amount, and this is the invoice amount for which this is the entire amount is invoice amount, unpaid amount. Okay, so from this, what amount you want to pay? By default, the entire unpaid amount will be selected for payment, but what amount you want to make payment for entire amount, or you want to make the partial amounts? That is where application asks you. So I want to pay only 1,000 rupees. Okay, and once the invoices are selected, so the option what we see is you can make the partial payment or complete payment, right? So let us do one thing. You can even remove the invoices. Okay, select the invoice and click on this into button. What happened? This invoice, whatever the invoice this was earlier selected, that got removed from the payment. Okay, not deleted from the application. Okay, by using this payment document, now we are making payment on 2 invoices. Invoice 006 we are making 100 rupees, and invoice 009 we are making 1,000 rupees. Okay, so the payment amount is 1,100, 1,100, and the total is 1,100. So there is another option as well, discount, and the other option as well on the interest. Okay, so assume that your payment terms, if you are making the payments before your due date, and your supplier gives you the discount if you make early, in that case, early payments, in that case, depends upon your payment terms, the discount will be automatically calculated by the application and it will display here. If you remember the invoice which I have removed, that had the discount amount here. Okay, we will see that invoice in an another payment. So what was the amount it calculated? Okay, so interest invoice for late payments. So if you are going to pay interest for the late payments, what is the late payment which crossed the due date, right? So for those cases, the interest will be calculated by the application. For that, you need to do some set configurations. Okay, it depends upon the configuration, interest will be calculated and added here. Okay, one thing here, if you observe, due date is December 16th for this invoice. For this invoice, due date is November 1st, right? How come this invoice got selected? This invoice got selected even though those are not due, right? This is the payment method. What we are doing right now is application didn't select the invoices based on the due date. we as a user has select these invoices to make the payments, so that the invoices, whatever the irrespective of the due date of the invoices, the invoice got selected for the payment. Okay, so the where in case of batch payments, depends upon your requirement, depends upon your configuration, the invoices will be automatically selected based on your due date. Okay, that is where one point you need to keep in your mind. Okay, so while making the quick payments, since you are selecting invoice for manually for payment, so it is your as a user, it's your duty to select the invoices. Application will never check and gives you an error message saying that you are paying an invoice which is in due in future. System will not give you that message, because user has knowingly selected that invoice, right? Okay, so we have selected the invoices and we even updated the payment. One invoice we are paying complete payments, and for the other invoice we are making the partial payments, which means we can make the partial payments as well. Okay, save and close. If you click on save and create another, what happens? Another payment document creation form will get opened. Okay, payment document number 1 is generated for an amount of 1100. Okay, you can view that payment as well. Okay, go to the manage payments. Supplier is our BHEL, right? And payment date is today's date. Any of these, since it is 2 asterisks, any one of the such criteria should be enough for us to get our data. Okay, so once you make the payment, this is how you review your payment document, right? This is the payment document number, check number 1 got generated. Out of this MIT payment document, the payment status is negotiable, and whether this payment is reconciled, no, we are just made the payment, right? We haven't reconciled that one. To whom we are making the payment? BHEL. What is the payment date? It is the payment date that you have that on the day the payment was made, and for what amount. Okay, so this is the remit to address is your supplier address we had created, right? Click on the payment document number. It will show you the details by using the payment document number 1. What are the details of this payment document is associated with, right? So on the header, what you see is status is negotiable, accounting status unaccounted. Did we run the accounting for this one? No, right? That is why you would see this is unaccounted. Once you run the accounting, create accounting, that will be the status will be accounted. Reconciled, it is no. The payment amount is 1100. Withheld amount is for withholding taxes. We haven't withheld anything. And this is the business unit, and this is the legal entity. These are your payment header details. Okay, and the payment details, you can see this is the payee, BHEL Hyderabad, and what is the document we have used, and what is the reference payment reference, payment file reference. This is the number you can see here, and paid invoices. By using this payment document, what all invoices are got paid. So even that also you can see. Even application gives you the drill down as well. You can click on the invoice number, it will take you to the invoice details. Just let's wait for the application to refresh the data for invoices. Okay, so this is the invoice. Okay, this is how even application gives you an drill down option as well. Okay, go to the history and see what is the data it has. So currency conversion details related, as well as if any errors. The other tab, it doesn't have anything. Okay, so in the actions you would see certain options: void, initiate stop, reissue, post to ledger, account in draft, view accounting. Okay, these last three options we know, right? Post to ledger, what it happens, it will create a journal and it will hit into your general ledger, right? So the account in draft, what it will do, it, even though it is also generate an accounting, it also gives you the account details, but the data will remain in AP. It will be in accounts payable. The journals will not be transferred to your general ledger. Let system to generate an accounting. Accounting failed, details view error from the view accounting. Okay, we'll see. I'll check that one. So why the accounting failed, I'll work on that one. Okay, not an issue. Okay, view accounting is to view your accounting. Since the accounting not yet generated, you would not be able to do anything there. So you can see this here, the accounting got failed. So let us see, it is giving the journal line entry can't be accounted until the payment transaction that reference is fully accounted. So what does it mean? Anyone? What does this statement gives you, the error? Which means the payment accounting can't be generated because the referenced entities, what are those references? Paid invoices. The invoices which are part of this payment are not actually accounted. That is why it is giving you the error. Why it is required? Because the liability account that gets credited in your liability invoice will be debited here in the payment, right? It would require that entry, right? The debit leg. That is why the accounting getting failed here. Okay, okay, no worries, that is non issue. So void payment, initiate and stop. Where do you use this? Void is to, void means the check, let us say the check we have already issued and you want to cancel this payment. Void means which is canceling the payment. Okay, maybe you have issued a check, the check is wrongly issued and you want to cancel that payment. So until you, till what point you can void? Till what point you have given an you have given a check to one of your person, one of your friend, where you have to give money. So the till what point you can cancel the check? In general, forget about the enterprise. In general, you have given a check to one person, and the till what point you can cancel that check?
Before it get cashed.
Correct. Until the person encash the check, till that point you can cancel, right? The person has already withdrawn the amount from the bank by using that check. What is the use? You cannot do that, right? You cannot do anything. So in Oracle also same. Till the point you have issued a check and the check didn't get encashed, till that point you can void the payment, which means you can cancel the payment. Initiate stop, when do you use that one? So you have initiate stop is actually you have issued a check and you have issued a check to one of your supplier, and this supplier, you are asking your bank to stop making payment on that check, maybe to certain point, or maybe to certain date, or till the issue gets resolved. What might be there might be an you have issued, let us say some material has been given by the supplier, and you have given a check, but you ask the supplier to fulfill something. Maybe you asked him to send some other material, or you asked him to send something to be fulfilled before the check gets clear. In that case, if the supplier doesn't fulfill that, you can directly call your bank saying that if the check number so and so gets for the clearance, just stop that payment. You can call to the banker and initiate that, and the same status you can record in your application, right? That is possible, right? Reissue. When do you go for reissue? Reissue is maybe the issued check got damaged. You have given a check to the supplier, the check got whatever issued to the supplier, it got damaged, it got teared, or maybe the supplier lost the check, right? In that case, what do you do? Whenever you go for the reissue, the old check get cancels and new check will be issued when you process this transaction type. Okay, we will see all these three. Okay, so someone asked me, where do you see the check, right? Just take the payment file reference, okay, and come out of this form. Okay, go to task panel, manage payment files. Okay, give this reference number from the payment document and search. Okay, go to the reference, go to the link. Okay, the status is printed, right? Since this is an printed stock, right? The check, right? Click on view. Okay, this is the check format. Actually, as I said, the check is generated. It is just the skeleton format. Basically, this check will be this template, whatever the template from. What is the output? I mean, this output is based on what configuration? Can anyone guess? I had explained it clearly before this session. Any guess?
They will be printed on the check, blank check.
Correct. This will be printed. I mean, this is the document. In real, what happens? In real, what happens is you would go for the view, and definitely you will be downloading that, and you will go for the print of this document. That is fine. But whatever the document, this data is generated, right? This generated document is based out of which configuration we have done in the application.
Payment profile.
Sorry?
Payment profile.
No. Any guess? Guys, it is managed payment formats we have configured, right? I had explained payment format is associated. What we have done, MIT check format we have defined. While defining the format, if you remember, standard check was the template we had associated, right? The standard check template has this layout. Okay, so if you run this template, the standard, if you run this payment for different invoices, what happens? The invoice details will get changed. Okay, and the amount will get changed, because whatever the amount you are paying, that will be populated here. And the supplier details, if you are making for the same BHL supplier, obviously that details will be same, and if we are making for different supplier, the supplier details will be populated here. Okay, basically this is a skeleton, this output. Okay, this output will be customized in any of the real-time implementation if we are going to generate checks out of your Oracle. Okay, if you are going to print checks, if you are going to use the print functionality, check printing functionality in Oracle, the for example, for instance, the customer has opted for check printing out of Oracle, then you must define a payment format, and the payment format which will be customized according to your customer requirement. I'll try to find out if I can showcase any of the actually developed check format, or I'll try to find out. If I can find, I'll show you how exactly the real-time check print looks like. I'll try to find out that. Okay, but what in general what happens, what would be the customized thing? So whatever something might be coming to your mind, right? Customize what fields you add as a customization on check. Generally, this is in each check the bank logo will be there, right? This is one of the requirement, right? And your company logo also will be there, right? So since you are printing your checks, so you would also print your logo, company logo as well. Those are the two things. And supplier details, how you want to represent, those are the one area where the customization takes place, as well as the amounts, I mean the adjustment as well, the format, the check format as well. Whether you see the seeded one, what happened, the seeded, this is the check number 1. So where you want to print this check number, the check number should be at the right corner, top right corner, or top left corner, or your bottom right or bottom left, where you want to print this check number. Even that you can customize in the application, where you want to print this date, check date, at the top right or top left, where, and the amount, whether you want to put this amount in any of the brackets or whatever, right? The theory, whatever the amount in words, where you want to print that one, next to the next below of this amount, or in parallel to this amount column, where the supplier details, where this supplier detail has to be printed. Generally it will be at the on top of the at least at equal to the at the same line as the amount, or at the top of, right? Pay, generally what do you see, pay, that the term pay you see, against which you will see the supplier details, right? So, and also the MIC or micro check numbers, there is a different concepts in our banking terminology. So where do you want to print those details? That is where you actually see for your check customization. And if you see at the top, there are the invoice details. Okay, so generally what happens is, these, for each of these checks, in reality, in real time, the check will be printed in one live, and the invoice details will be printed in a separate page, where you are giving the supplier one. For example, for the representative of BHL supplier, you will be giving two documents. One is the check, and the other document will be having your invoice details. Boss, I'm giving you this check for an amount of 1,100 rupees. The corresponding against which invoice I am paying, these are the invoices. So these details you will be printed on your printer. Okay, this is about the payment document, how this payment document gets generated out of your Oracle. Okay, so any questions on this one?
Is it not required of a signature or otherwise a signature column?
That also can be customized. So I'll tell you. See, there are certain situations where check may be manually signed or automatically signed, right? Sir, manually signed case, what the responsible person will be manually signed, and the
Yes.
authorized signature will be predefined when the check customization I had explained, right? That is also one of the component where you go for the check customization. The digital signature will be kept inside your template, and whenever you use whenever you print the check, the signature will be automatically populated, automatically get printed on your check. Even there are certain scenarios where the certain customers has the requirement, like if my check amount crosses 50,000, I should have 2 signatures. Okay, even you can customize your check template to have 2 signatures if my check payment exceeds for a given supplier 50,000. You can do that. You can write the condition inside your check template. That will be primarily that will be done by your technical consultant. Okay. That you can do. That you can do. Even one check, one sign, 2 sign, 3 signs, depends upon your requirement. You can go for customization. Okay, let us do for accounting. Meanwhile, if anyone has any questions, you can ask me.
We made a partial payment to one invoice. And how does it records?
It requires, see, the payment you can see in the invoice.
How does it records in the GL?
In GL, we will see that in the invoice area, right? How GL
Yes.
it gives. See, GL is not at all bothered about your invoice data. I mean, whether my invoice is 1,000 or how much I am making payment, it never bothers. It is GL is your central hub where you actually record your data in terms of account balances. Okay, the transactional data is maintained in your subledgers, which we call as an payables, right?
Okay.
So here you can see, we will see that. We will see what is the impact that we will see that. Good question. So this is I think this is the completely paid invoice, I guess. Invoice is the 100 amount, but let us do one thing. Let us account this invoice. This is the invoice which we completely paid, right? So invoice amount has 100 and the 100 amount already got paid. So let us account it. So you can see in the payments tab, you would see what are the payment details on the invoice. You can come back to the invoice. You can come back to the invoice, and on the invoice payment tab, you would see this is the number, payment document number. By this is using what are the payment details. This is the payment document, and this is the payment date, and this is the amount. I guess by using the payment document number on this invoice, 100 rupees are already paid. Okay, create accounting. So without accounting, what did you observe while with the error? Anyone with the error on the payment document, with the error on an application has error, see the incident log for more information. With the error on payment, create accounting on payment document, what was the key point to be taken? Anyone?
One of the invoice that we are about to clear is not properly accounted.
Yes. So you can make the payment which is not accounted, right? So which invoices you can make the payment? Invoices which is validated, right? invoices which is validated and approved. If approval is enabled, then if the invoice is validated and approved, those invoices can be available for payment. That is the bottom line. Okay, but to create an accounting of payment document, the invoices which are linked to that payment document has to be accounted first. Why? Because invoice will have two lines, the debit line and credit line. Credit line will be your, what is that, liability, right? Liability account, right? The liability account is going to be debited on your payment document, right? So system will not, application will not find out the debit line, the code combination of your debit line on your payment document. That is why it throws an error. That is the technical logical error why the application didn't happen, why the accounting didn't happen. I'm sorry, I think I have opened the invoice number 7. Why? It should be invoice number 9. If you see here on the invoice query itself, you can see the invoice amount 10,000. Okay, unpaid amount 9,000, right? Invoice amount is 10,000, but the amount unpaid amount is 9,000. The 1,000 paid amount you can see on the payments tab. Okay, simply you can go on post to ledger. Okay, now you should be able to create the accounting. There is some, I don't know what it is. Anyway, account is got generated. Let's see if this payment didn't generate an accounting, then we'll come back and see. Guys, anyone has any questions? Tomorrow we will see the batch payments, how you make, and we will also see the transactions on your payment document, right? The void, reissue, that you can see, that we will see. All right, let's see the accounting get generates. Yes, can you see it now? We accounting. See, the liability got debited from these two invoices, right? The cash clearing, this is where we have defined, right? This cash clearing, if you remember, this 1202 account we had defined on the bank account setup, if you remember, right? So initially it will be put into your cash clearing. Once you do the reconciliation, then in the reconciliation accounting, the cash clearing account will be debited and the cash account will be get credited, cash account or bank account, whatever. Okay, this is about the accounting.